30 flood warnings are issued across the UK as Storm Bert brings high winds, rain and snow.
Storm Bert has arrived and brought with it what the Met Office is calling a multi-hazard event. Snow has fallen thick and fast across Scotland and parts of northern and central England. Multiple accidents have been reported and drivers are being urged to only make essential journeys. After significant flooding in Ireland, people in parts of Wales and the southwest of England are being warned to prepare for the same. Chloe Keedy has the latest.
Rushing in under cover of darkness, Storm Bert turned streets into river rapids in Ireland's County Donegal. Elsewhere, the night brought heavy snow. Unfazed, these hardy sheep simply shrugged it off. But as people across central and northern England woke up this morning, it was to both picture postcard views and what promised to be a day of heavy disruption.
Well, we were off to climb Scarfell Pike today, but that's not happening anymore.
With many major roads closed, drivers became unstuck, including one rather underdressed courier who was trying to deliver medical supplies.
The days are it's all messed up now. I've got to head back home.
Storm Bert has also brought disruption to rail services across the UK, making its presence felt on the south coast in Devon, all the way up to parts of Scotland, where an amber warning for snow and ice will stay in place until this evening.
We are going to see some quite heavy snowfall, potential of up to 40 centimetres building up over the highest mountains in places. We do have the risk of that also bringing power lines down and leading to power cuts.
A cold weather health alert is also in place for parts of England until tonight, as people are urged to check in on anyone vulnerable who could be at risk and advised only to travel if you have to. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.
A man has died in Hampshire after a tree fell on his car as Storm Bert swept across much of the UK. Yellow weather warnings for wind, rain or snow, as well as dozens of flood warnings are in place across much of the country until tomorrow. And there's been disruption on the roads and the railways. Olivia Richwald reports.
Storm Bert announced its arrival with winds that battered Lyme Regis. A man in his 60s died after a tree fell on a car near Winchester in Hampshire. Heavy snow made roads treacherous for drivers. This was Renfrewshire in Scotland and saw bus services disrupted across the central belt. Heavy rain caused flooding in parts of Northern Ireland, including this railway line. 5 adults and 5 children had to be rescued from a property after a landslide in North Wales, where heavy rain and flooding also led this river to burst its banks. Newcastle Airport was badly affected, with some flights cancelled, diverted and delayed. These pictures were taken from inside the airport, and it has been a day to stay in if you could.
These extremes do seem to be coming more frequently, but one thing's for sure, right across the country today, farmers are going to be out tending their livestock.
Power outages affected tens of thousands of homes in Northern Ireland, Wales, England and Scotland.
It's been pretty tough out there. The weather conditions this morning were probably the most challenging with the snow. It was quite heavy in areas, difficulty getting access to some of the locations where we needed to carry out repairs. That's kind of improved through the day as the rains come and melted quite a lot of the snow. So that's improved.
The snow which fell across the north of England this morning was inches deep and is now rapidly melting. So the concern now turns to flooding, with several Environment Agency flood warnings already in place. In addition, there are yellow warnings from the Met Office for snow, rain and wind affecting large swathes of the country. Disruption is likely to continue overnight and tomorrow, with some weather warnings in place until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Storm Bert has been described as a multi-hazard event, and the advice in the worst affected areas is to check before travelling. But if you're heading out, make sure you're at least dressed for it. Olivia Richwald, BBC News.
And Katrina Renton is in Pitlochry in Perth and Kinross for us now. And Katrina, Scotland's had some of the strongest warnings, but has the situation improved?
Well, Rita, the worst of Storm Bert has passed now here in Scotland. There was snow here in Pitlochry earlier today, but most of it has now melted away. The amber warning for snow and ice that was in place here and in parts of northern Scotland was actually downgraded earlier than anticipated. There was also an amber warning in southern Scotland, and that made driving conditions there difficult. The Central Belt was not covered by an amber warning. It had a yellow warning, but there was considerable disruption with congestion on the motorway between Glasgow and Edinburgh. The Queensferry crossing closed, and it is still closed just now. And the main local bus service in Edinburgh was suspended, but it's getting back to normal now. And the kick-off time was delayed in 4 Scottish Premiership matches. Amber warnings into tomorrow, though, with the rapid thaw, wind and rain. Could there be more problems? Let's hope not.
At least 2 people have died as Storm Bert battered large parts of the UK and Ireland today, leaving thousands of homes without power, roads flooded, flights delayed and trains cancelled. Several weather warnings remain in place after what forecasters are calling a multi-hazard weather event that has seen torrential rain, heavy snow and winds of up to 70 miles per hour. Ireland has seen the worst flooding, but there are also flood warnings in place in the UK tonight. Chloe Keedy reports.
In the Irish coastal town of Killybegs, those that did get any sleep woke up to find a river running between their homes. In Northern Ireland, Storm Bert sent floodwater surging down this railway track into the path of an oncoming train, as people in Belfast opened their curtains to find themselves marooned.
What? Oh my God. What the hell?
And that was before she'd looked downstairs.
Oh, it's freezing.
Freezing was also the word for central and northern England, as well as Scotland, where it all started with heavy snow, causing train delays and cancellations and creating dangerous conditions on the roads.
Well, we were off to climb Scafell Pike today, but that's not happening anymore. So I think we're going home.
The days are it's all messed up now. I've got to head back home.
2 drivers, one in Yorkshire and one in Hampshire, are confirmed to have died since the storm began. As high winds battered Devon's coast, thousands of homes across the southwest and Wales and in central and northern England found themselves without power.
So in storms like this, when the Met Office describe it as a multi-hazard event, that means you've got rain, you've got snow, you've got ice conditions, and you've got strong winds. All of those conditions make it extremely challenging for engineers who are out there trying to fix problems on the network that are caused by the wind blowing debris onto the lines and reconnect customers as quickly as possible.
Flood alerts are in place across the UK. In Hebden Bridge in West Yorkshire, the flood sirens only sounded as the snow began to melt. The owner of this pub can only begin to assess the damage, knowing that more heavy rain is forecast to fall before this storm moves on. Chloe Keedy, ITV News.